What's going on, my Flabby family? It's your boy Izzy. Welcome if you're new. So we have this reporter that goes by the name of Sabrina that dropped the behind-the-scenes information about Caitlin Clark at this USA basketball training camp. And the way that she's talking, Caitlin Clark made this team, fam. She made this.
Literally. This is crazy. I'm under contract. I guess I plan on returning to the sky and continuing to talk to Tyler.
I quit. That's the phrase quietly spreading behind the scenes after Team USA camp wrapped up. Because once Caitlin Clark was named the starter, Angel Reese made a decision that shocked everyone inside the gym.
Are you here intentionally to start mess, or are you intentionally here to ask a question? And it's really tough for me.
Start mess? How are you gonna? You know you're the one that's saying these things on these microphones, right? You the one that said it's not because of her, it's because of me too. It's not because of one person, it's because of me too. You did that. You did that. You the one that keep trying to attach yourself. Like, let's be clear here. Angel Reese is the one that keeps trying to attach herself to Caitlin Clark at every turn. You are the one who went to Indiana, shot your shoe commercial and said, come to your trap, take over your trap, taking shots at Caitlin Clark. You try to attach yourself to this girl at every single turn, and you get mad that people see it.
This wasn't about one bad practice. This wasn't about trash talk. And this wasn't social media drama. This was about a role, and Angel Reese refusing to accept it. Team USA camp started the way it always does. Competitive, but controlled. Everyone fighting for minutes. Everyone told to put egos aside. But the entire direction of camp shifted the moment Caitlin Clark took control of the floor. From the first full-speed scrimmages, it was clear what the coaches were seeing. Clark wasn't just scoring. She was running everything. The pace changed when she had the ball. Spacing tightened. Decisions came earlier. The offense didn't need her to force anything. It naturally flowed through her. And coaches noticed immediately. Assistants leaned in. Whispers started. Rotations adjusted.
She was complaining to the referees. Like, that's one of those things where it's like, yeah, she's there complaining to refs, she's back. She's back. But let's take a listen.
Caitlin Clark back on the court, super impressed with Caitlin just being engaged while she was out and getting back to being able to play.
It was a combination of like USA players going against USA players and then also USA players going against the scout team, which was just like players from small colleges all across North Carolina sort of helping out with that scout team practice. And, you know, she looked like Caitlin. The step back three was there, the passes were there. And she was not playing with Aaliyah Boston. Some of the bigs didn't know what to do with her passes. There was one time where she passed it to Hamby and Hamby like brought the ball down. It's like, you can't do that. This is not, you have to keep it up, right?
Straight up.
Just like not expecting where that was coming. But FIBA, naturally, just a lot more physical than other levels of basketball, even more physical than the WNBA. So having to see Caitlin like go at scouting players who were, you know, instructed to play at a FIBA level of physicality was interesting considering how long she's been out and the fact that she's still ramping up injury wise, but she looked good. She was just like so happy to be there.
By the middle of camp, it was no longer a question of if Caitlin Clark would start. It was when. That's where the tension began. Angel Reese came into camp expecting a major role. Not just minutes, not just impact, status. But as scrimmages stacked up, the contrast became uncomfortable. Clark was directing traffic, calling actions, setting tempo. Angel was active, physical, competing. But the offense didn't revolve around her. The ball moved past her. The game sped up around her. And then the decision came down. Caitlin Clark was named the starting point guard. The lineup was clear. The hierarchy was set. And Angel Reese was told she'd be coming off the bench. That moment changed everything. Sources say Reese didn't react immediately. No outburst. No scene. But the frustration was obvious. Her body language shifted. Her engagement dipped. The energy wasn't the same. Because for Angel Reese, this wasn't just a basketball adjustment. It was an identity check. Coming off the bench on Team USA isn't a punishment. It's still elite. But to someone who sees themselves as a centerpiece, it can feel like a demotion. And Reese didn't hide how she felt. Behind the scenes, dissatisfaction grew. Questions about her role turned into complaints. Complaints turned into distance. Meanwhile, Clark kept doing exactly what earned her the spot. She didn't celebrate. She didn't flex. She ran the offense. She elevated teammates. She controlled the floor. The contrast couldn't have been sharper.
Right. Stirring it up. I love that. I love that you could see the storylines continue from the W season into, this camp. And I want to particularly hit on two things that you wrote about. Just Caitlin Clark being back on the court. You also got a quote out of Sue Bird about her being impressed with Caitlin just being engaged.
Okay, so we've already gone and listened to that anyway. So it is one of those things where it's like, I think that's probably the most important thing that they said at the end is that Caitlin Clark just looked happy playing. And if you know the type of players that Caitlin Clark are, that type of players Caitlin Clark is, if we're being honest, she is a player that she plays off instinct. If the love of basketball is gone from Caitlin Clark, like, she's not going to be the same player. She's just not. She plays free. She takes risks. She's not as calculated as a lot of other players. She's not going to dissect you.
One player leaned into responsibility. The other resisted it. By the final day of camp, the atmosphere was tense. Practices were sharp, quiet, unforgiving. Clark dictated the pace again. Angel barely touched the ball. And then, before camp officially wrapped, Angel Reese stepped away, early. No press conference, no announcement, just gone. Inside the gym, everyone understood what it meant. This wasn't an injury. This wasn't rest. This was a refusal to accept the role she'd been given. And that's why this moment matters. Because Team USA isn't built on star treatment. It's built on fit, on sacrifice, on accepting what the team needs, not what your reputation demands. Caitlin Clark earned her spot by making everyone else better. Angel Reese was asked to adjust, and instead, she walked away.
Oh, I don't know. Angel Reese, she might have tapped out, y'all. Angel Reese may have tapped out and quit. Everybody is speculating. What's going on? Hey, are you trying to pretend like you hurt because Caitlin Clark really is hurt? Wait, what's going on? What's going on, man? We gonna get to the bottom. We gonna figure it out.
Now fans are split. Some say Reese was disrespected. Others say she showed exactly why she wasn't named a starter. But one thing is clear. This wasn't about Caitlin Clark tearing anyone down. She didn't have to. Her game made the decision unavoidable. And when that decision came, it exposed who was willing to adapt and who wasn't. So here's the real question. Did Angel Reese quit on Team USA? Or did Team USA simply choose a direction that didn't include her ego? If you're still watching, drop "I quit" in the comments. Because this debate is only getting louder.
And Caitlin Clark destroys in day 2 of Team USA camp, looking like the best player in the world as usual.
Caitlin Clark just destroyed Team USA practice, and Angel Reese was right there for it. This was not a cute welcome back run. This was a statement, the kind that makes coaches stop talking and makes every newcomer realize the standard just changed. And it came after months of questions, not just about Team USA, about her body, about her health, about whether that rough stop-start season was going to follow her. Clark admitted being hurt can feel isolating and that the injuries kept stacking up. She said she felt nervous walking into camp, but the second she touched the ball in warm-ups, she felt comfortable again.
I mean, honestly, I feel like when I touched the basketball to start warming up before the practice even started, that's probably when I felt pretty comfortable. But I mean, I've worked so hard. Like, I haven't taken a break since, honestly, since the beginning of the WNBA season, with just all my rehab and getting back to where I wanted to be and then getting even better. So that's been kind of my focus. And this has kind of been my next thing that I've been working for since our season ended, and just really thankful for, the training staff and player development and everybody that has kind of been there with me. They haven't taken a break either because they invest a lot of time and they want me to be successful. So I think for myself, like, it's not proving it to yourself again, but it's just that feeling. And I think it just made me smile quite a bit. Like, I really did kind of feel like myself out there and just continuing to get my lungs back. But I felt like I was moving really well. So it was pretty satisfying.
Then practice started and Team USA got the version of Caitlin Clark that plays fast on purpose, not rushed, fast. Coach Kara Lawson described it with one simple line. She said Clark looked good on both ends.
She's great,
Yeah.
Got a great personality, works hard in the practices, wants to be good, coachable, just all of the things you would expect from a good young player.
But that sentence does not capture what happened. Everyone was watching her first steps. They wanted to see if the burst was there. They wanted to see if the rust showed. And instead, she looked like she never left. One clip says everything. Clark comes off a dribble handoff from Aaliyah Boston and turns the corner like someone hit fast forward. She is downhill before the defense can even load up. Help comes, and she fires a perfect pass right to Jackie Young. That is what makes her dangerous. It is not just the logo threes, it is the tempo, the intent, the way she forces you to play her game at her pace, whether you want to or not. And Sue Bird was right there watching it. Bird is the managing director in this camp. Therefore, when she is visibly excited, that is information.
You know she's a hard worker because of what she's been able to accomplish, but until you see that there's no wasted, movements, no wasted reps, no wasted anything, you just have such a level of respect for how she goes about her work every day. And understanding the spotlight that she's on, understanding the weight that she carries because of who she is. And I've said this before, like she's literally like Taylor Swift 2.0.
Reports out of camp said Bird could not hide it, while Clark pushed tempo, hit knockdown threes, and built chemistry with Boston that looked like a starting unit. That chemistry is the sneaky part. You could see it in the little stuff, the timing on cuts, the way Boston screens and slips because she trusts the pass will arrive on time. The way Clark rewards movement, other players start sprinting lanes because they know she will find them. Then, the practice footage hit the internet, and it got louder. There is a clip where Clark throws a behind-the-back pass, sees Nate Tibbetts coming to set a screen, splits it clean, and gets all the way to the rim. No hesitation. Then, the sequence that made everyone replay it. Kelsey Plum comes off the screen, kicks it out, and Clark drills the three. Next possession, Clark is up the floor, another three. Then she comes off another screen, and it is another three. 3 quick decisions. 3 shots that say, I am not here to ease into anything. And it is not just scoring. This camp is built on roles, on trust, on who can run the team when the game gets tight. In the clips, you see Clark defending, moving well, and making the right pass before the defense even realizes it rotated. That is why the reaction was so intense. Because it was not loud, it was calm, it looked like command. And when one player looks like that, it changes what everyone else is fighting for. Which brings us to Angel Reese. Reese has real value. She rebounds, she brings physicality, she competes, she can help any team if she is used correctly. But this camp is a pressure cooker because the vibe is tempo and spacing. Quick decisions, guard play that bends the floor, bigs that screen, sprint, and finish. Therefore, when Clark is running the show, everything gets measured against whether it fits that style. The chatter from camp has been blunt. Reports said Clark outclassed the other newcomers, including Reese. They said the staff looked more impressed with Clark's team first impact than with individual flashes. That does not mean Reese is bad. It means the margin is smaller than people want to admit. There are only so many spots. There are only so many touches. And if you are a newcomer, you do not get the benefit of time. You get moments. One quote from the camp coverage hit hard. It said Reese emphasized players were selected based on their ability to contribute to the team. That is true. But in the same breath, the conversation turned into fit. Can Reese's game thrive when the ball is flying and the pace is extreme? Can she stay on the floor if the lineup needs spacing? Can she dominate in a role that is not built around her? That is the tension. Because Caitlin Clark does not just score. She speeds up the whole roster. If you are late, you get left. If you do not cut hard, you do not get rewarded. But here is the twist most people are missing. This camp is not only about players, it is also about coaches. Sue Bird clarified that the court coaches are provisional, and that final assistant roles get confirmed closer to the World Cup. In other words, people on the bench are auditioning too. So the real question is not only is Caitlin back, it is who is building the system? Are they optimizing Clark's pace and vision, or trying to fit her into a preset plan? After what we just saw, the answer feels obvious. If Caitlin Clark is healthy, you let her run it. You let her push tempo. You let her make everyone better. So now, Team USA has a choice. They can embrace what is obvious and build around Clark's game. Or they can try to manage it and squeeze her into a box that never fit her in the first place. And the next scrimmage is going to expose which path they are taking. Watch the rotations. Watch who closes. Watch who gets the ball when the possession actually matters. Because if Caitlin Clark keeps playing like this, it is not just Angel Reese who will feel shocked. It is the entire hierarchy. If you are still watching, comment Team USA Tempo.
Look like day 2 of USA team basketball has begun. Caitlin Clark is still in the midst, and women's basketball is definitely back.
In yesterday's episode, we talked about Team USA camp that's currently happening at Duke University, and the biggest news from this camp is that Caitlin Clark is 100% healthy. She's back on the court. She's playing 5v5.
Team USA Day 2 practice footage just dropped, and Caitlin Clark looks different. Not in a clickbait way. Different in the details. The pace is calmer. The footwork is cleaner. The shots come out with more control. But the strange part is not what we see in Durham. It is what we do not see online. Because the engagement around this camp has been quiet. And that should worry the WNBA more than any missed jumper. Day 2 gives us better angles and more reps. You can feel the speed. You can see how serious the tone is. Every cut matters. Every pass is sharp. And right away, Paige Bucher's pops. Paige is living in the mid-range. 1 or 2 dribbles, rise up, splash. People are watching these clips and saying she looks like a young Diana Taurasi. That is a wild compliment, but you can see why they say it.
In the WNBA, we got Paige Buecher's fans being just so petty and bogus over one little shot she made over Caitlin Clark. And the thing is, you guys are making this a war when we love Paige. We think Paige is a great player. But y'all starting a war that don't need to be started. Put the pettiness down.
But here's the turn. The highlights are good, but the numbers around the highlights are not. This roster announcement and these practice clips should have been a social media party.
So today we got it. We got to see the quote unquote young and turnt team play together in training camp. We got to see the lineup of Paige Buecher's, Caitlin Clark, Leah Boston, Sonia Citron, and Angel Reese. And it is one of those things where if you guys are watching, so I'll talk a little more about the game. My guess is that like you added Kiki, you added Rickea Jackson to this team. Cam Brink was put on the older.
Caitlin is in the gym. Paige is in the gym. The story is right there. Therefore, the reaction should be loud. Instead, it feels muted. And it's not just a feeling. Even the way people talk about it sounds different. Day 1 was described as decent, but it was also followed by, I expected more fanfare. That tells you everything. When you finally have a mainstream moment, decent is not good enough. You want loud. You want casual fans arguing. You want clip accounts spamming highlights. You want the comments section fighting about who should start. But right now, it feels like the camp is being watched mostly by the same core fans who already care. And this offseason is a test. It answers one brutal question. Do people show up for women's basketball, or do they only show up for Caitlin Clark? A lot of fans keep pointing to the same pattern. Caitlin Clark games can sit around the 1 million viewer mark, but games without her can slide closer to the league's old baseline, around 400,000. That gap is massive. It does not mean the league is failing, but it does mean the league is still star dependent. Now let's go back to the footage, because Caitlin really does look different. When people say that, I think they mean she looks settled. Watch her off the ball. She is not sprinting like she has to prove she belongs. She is sliding into space and reading the floor early. And when she shoots, the base looks stronger. Feet set. Balance. Straight up. Release. That call matters because she recently said the rehab took longer than she expected, but she is feeling back at 100% now. That is not just health. That is confidence. And a confident Caitlin plays smarter, not just faster. So why is the internet acting like this is just another random practice? There are 3 explanations. 1, it's the off-season. Casual fans moved on. 2, it's practice. People want games, not drills. But 3, and this is the uncomfortable one, a chunk of the audience might have been here for Caitlin, not for the sport. If that is true, the league's next move is obvious. There's also a weird irony here. This Team USA group is deeper than ever. It is not a one-player show. That should be a good thing, but it can also spread attention thin. A casual fan shows up, sees 10 stars, and thinks, who am I supposed to latch onto? Therefore, the league has to make the story simple. Give people a rivalry, a role, a reason. Caitlin the engine, Paige the closer, veterans protecting the crown, young stars trying to steal it. It has to build more stars, more storylines, and more reasons to care when Caitlin is not the only headline. Paige has to become must-watch. Team USA has to feel like an event, not a nice clip. And that brings us to the bigger pressure point, the CBA. The collective bargaining agreement talks are hanging over everything. Players want better travel, better pay, and fair revenue sharing. Owners point to financial reality and say the business still needs time to grow. And the media rights money is the tension in the middle. The number being discussed is about $2.2 billion over 11 years, which is roughly $200 million per year. Players look at that and say, we deserve more now. Owners look at that and say, we still have to turn that into real profit. Both sides have a point, but the one outcome nobody can afford is a work stoppage that kills momentum. Caitlin basically said that out loud. She called this the biggest moment the WNBA has ever seen, and she warned it cannot be messed up. She also said, fight for what you deserve, but you have to play basketball, because the product is what fans show up for. That is the truth of the attention economy. Fans do not fall in love with negotiations. They fall in love with games, moments, and pressure. So here is the real cliffhanger of this entire camp. Team USA is probably going to dominate. But the bigger question is whether international games can recapture the attention the WNBA season generated. Because if these games pull the casual audience back in, the league is growing. But if the engagement stays low even when the stakes are real, the league has a different problem. It is not a basketball problem. It is a retention problem. And day 2 is already hinting at it. Caitlin looks calmer. Paige looks lethal. The roster looks stacked. Therefore, the basketball is not the issue. The issue is whether the world keeps caring when it is not being screamed at to care. So watch the first real Team USA game clips. Not practice, the games. Watch the reaction, the shares, and the comments. Because if the engagement explodes when it becomes real, this was just an off-season dip. But if it stays quiet, the WNBA is still running on one engine, and it has to build the rest fast. Comment if you think Caitlin's different look is growth or something else, and if you're still watching, drop day 2 different in the comments.